exactly what it would be. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, there's still a few people joining, but I think we'll go ahead and start. This is the February 2023 meeting of the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group. I'm Jeff Stevens, chair of the planning group. We'll start with non-agenda public comments. These are limited to 3 minutes and are not debatable. Is there anyone here? If there's anyone here to do non-agenda public comment, will you please raise your hand? Becky Rapp, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Becky Rapp, and I wanted to share with you some good news, actually, from the Department of Cannabis Control. They recently, actually it was November 7th of 2022, so it was a few months ago, but they are limiting the flavors being added to inhaled marijuana products. So similar to our flavored tobacco ban, now marijuana that is inhaled, so through a vape pen or a wax or something that's melted and then inhaled, would be limited to not having flavors that are attractive to children. So this is a huge step forward for parents, and you know, the marijuana industry has just completely followed the tobacco playbook, and this is a step in the right direction. We're not sure how this is going to be enforced quite yet, and even if the operators in the area are aware, but we hope that the Department of Cannabis Control, as well as the city, will reach out and encourage them to stop selling these flavored inhaled products. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Joe Frichtel.
Yeah, you know, this probably isn't a non-agenda public comment, because I need to discuss something with Chris really quick, since we can have like a debate on this. So do you want to wait till a little bit lower, or?
Go ahead and ask your question, then we'll decide.
All right, I just got a report from somebody that knows about Wagenheim project, that they're pushing to get the fireworks put in over there before the field is finished. And I was told if they do that, they will delay the project for 2 weeks, and it will cost $20,000 to put the fireworks there and make this thing happen. And it was supported by Chris Kate, which that's why I'm glad you're here, Chris, because I don't know where this came from. That's the first time I heard it, was about a day ago. And I'm really concerned that this fireworks thing would get in there and cause that problem to go 2 weeks longer, but also cost $20,000. So do you have any information on that?
This is the first time I've heard of it.
Because they use your name.
Chris is a nobody now. He's you know, he's no longer a councilman.
That is 100% true, and thankful for that. But yeah, I have not heard that at all.
Okay, that's why I questioned it, because I said, wow, Chris is still involved. That's amazing. But okay, let me, if anybody hears anything about that, please get a hold of me and I will see what I can find out. Thank you.
Hey, Craig Jackson, you have your hand up?
Yes, I have one sort of comment I'd like to make. Because Zoom meetings are no longer going to be possible for planning groups and other organizations in the city of San Diego, I drafted a letter a few weeks ago and sent to our local state assembly representative. And if anyone would like to see that letter, modify it if they are interested in the same position. The comment that I made was that the Zoom meetings have been instrumental in getting much more participation by community members in planning group activities. And thus we will lose that if we have to go back to simply in-person meetings or exclusively in-person meetings. So send me an email, or you can send an email to Jeff
Sorry.
and forward it to me.
I thought I needed to text it to you to join it, but I didn't need to. I'm watching it right now.
Okay, I'll be happy to send the letter to anyone who is of a similar view and would like to make the comments. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, and thank you for writing those letters. Those were good. Yes, I would encourage anyone else to follow up with that. There is some activity at the state that could bring some relief from basically just going back to doing it the way we always did it before the pandemic, but I'm not quite sure where that is at the moment. So we'll be going back to live meetings for some time. So someone asked if I can control the muting. Yes, I can. I can control the muting. I usually do that when I see a problem. Now I also have mute all. So I have just muted everyone. But I cannot unmute you. So when you need to say something, please remember to unmute yourself. So I don't know why I'm allowed to mute and not to unmute, but that's the way this works. So, okay, next item is adopting the previous meeting minutes. Were there any changes to the minutes? They were sent out to all the members and posted on the website. I don't see any changes. Then Tiffany, would you call the roll? And this will also ensure that we have a quorum here.
Yes, absolutely. Andrew,
Approve.
Lilith,
Approve.
Ian,
Approve.
Craig Jackson,
Approve.
Ralph,
Approve.
John. Is John here? No? Okay, Joe,
Approve.
Barry,
Barry's not here.
okay. Jeff, improve. Okay. Dorothy. Dorothy, I thought,
Unmute yourself, Dorothy. I can see you're here.
Unmute.
approve. Thank you, Dorothy. Keith,
Keith is traveling tonight, so he won't be here.
okay. Julia,
Approve.
thank you. Harkey is, I thought, is he not here? Okay. I approve. Marvin,
Approve.
is Justin here? Spindlebaum,
I don't see him.
okay. Mike Linton,
Approved.
thank you. And Philip,
Approved.
thank you. So we have 14.
Great. All right, so we have a quorum. We will proceed. Next thing on the agenda is report on the chair. I do have a few things to report. First is, some people may have seen the article in Voice of San Diego that the city is being sued over the Mira Mesa community plan, just by a group that basically thinks it didn't go far enough, that they're insisting that it gets more people into transit. I don't know what will happen with that. They're basically suing the city because the city is passing one set of regulations that are inconsistent with another. But that's in the works, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I mean, in my opinion, the way to get people to use transit is to get more transit rather than you get a lot more density, which seems to be what they're asking for. Second, as I think I already mentioned, the meeting on March 20th will be in person at the Mira Mesa Library. We'll start with the elections, and the meeting will proceed after they're concluded. Then Alex Frost has been nice enough to print copies of the community plan for all planning group members, and he'll bring those to the March meeting, and you can collect your copy there. Another thing that happened recently, the city approved changes to the land development code that will allow denser development in all residential areas within a 1-mile walk to a transit corridor. Instead of transit priority areas, these are now called sustainable development areas. The previous regulations had been a 1/2 mile, but it was a 1/2 mile as the crow flies. So in most cases, that was farther than farther than 1/2 mile. But it still has been quite controversial to increase it to a full mile. Another thing I just found out about yesterday, the city sold an 8-acre parcel of land on the north side of Lusk Boulevard to Cushman and Wakefield, who are calling it Lusk on Lusk Serrano Mesa. The site is mostly a steep slope and is identified as open space in the community plan. It's located within the multi-habitat planning area. Nearly 100% of the site contains coastal sage, so it has an environmentally sensitive lands designation from the city of San Diego. The land was appraised at $220,000 and the city sold it to the developer for $1 million. So I don't know what they plan there. I'm a little wary of the city's selling land that is supposed to be open space in the community plan. It's certainly a very difficult piece to develop. I did ask Kent Lee about that, and he said he didn't actually think they were going to develop it, but it may give them some development right elsewhere in some way that I don't fully understand. But let me just show you here what it looks like. Where'd it go? I had it up, maybe not. Just a second. There it is. So this is it. It's basically this piece roughly from the power line over to here. So it's this sort of.
Jeff, we can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't see the screen?
Oh, there it is. It just popped up now. It just popped up.
Okay. So it's basically this steep slope right here from the power line over to where these other buildings start. There's a little bit of land on the top where there's a trail that conceivably you might build something in, but it's obviously a difficult spot. So I would have preferred the city maintain ownership of this, so there's never an issue with it not being open space, but it was just sold to a private party for $1 million. Just one other thing, we'll hear this later, but I got Kent told me that Dustin Nguyen has been our representative from his office since he took office, but they are going to be swapping Dustin with Selden, who used to be our representative, and Dustin will be going to represent University City. So Dustin, you want to say anything more about that?
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Just, I think you're familiar with Sheldon, so I think it'd be a great transition back for him. And I'm always around too if any issues that are lingering. You're always welcome to reach out to me.
So we have 2 reps then, you say? Oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, quite a bit of mail. There is an easement vacation at 5975 Pacific Mesa. That is actually a process 5, which means it has to go to the city council. It doesn't look very controversial to me, but that will be coming to us. So we have to Nora for storm drain lining at a number of locations. Nora for the Miramar alcohol beverage outlet that we reviewed last month. Email from the city attorney and planning department regarding teleconferencing after the COVID emergency expires. To me, they're so convoluted to make it impossible. If anyone can find a way to make that work, let me know. Notice that an application has been filed for a backup generator at 7860 Handle Way. That's a process 4. application for a conditional use permit amendment to allow continued operation of a 40,000 square foot indoor recreation facility at 8190 Mira Lane Drive. That's the rock and jump trampoline park. That's also a process 4. And then there was a substantial conformance review and site development plans for Mira Mesa Presbyterian Church. They're rearranging the way they have their buildings and parking planned. If anyone wants any more details on those, let me know and I can send you the original. Okay, we'll go on to election committee report. Tiffany.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, everybody. I want to just go over a little bit about the election that will be coming up, as Jeff mentioned, on March 20th. So currently we have 7 open seats. 6 of them are 8-year terms. 1 of them is a 2-year term. The election will be on March 20th in person, as we'll be doing the meeting then at Mira Mesa Branch Library from 6:45 to 7:45. I believe an email has already gone out to everyone to make sure that you're on the voting list and you're registered for that. All of the ballots will be handed out then at the time, and then we will count the results and announce the final selections by the end of the meeting. We do currently have quite a few on the list. We have 6, but we do have 1 opening, so there may be some existing termed residential candidates who you'll hear from tonight that may just continue their term even past the 8 years. They will require a 2/3 vote for that to occur, and that will happen at the meeting. So I also want to I'm putting in the chat the website for anyone who is interested in understanding a little bit more about the bylaws and the guidelines, the administrative guidelines on the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group. And so if you have any detailed questions, most of those could be answered if you go to the link in the website that I just put in the chat. So at this time, I am going to go ahead and allow some of our applicants to do a 2-minute introduction if you'd like, and I'm just going to go ahead and call out your name, and then I'll call on some of our existing residential planning group members to follow up with that. So I'm going to start with Sean Tompkins, if you're on the call.
Yes, yeah, I am. Hello. I will just say hi, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm Sean Tompkins, married, resident, 23 years here in the area. I live just off of Sereno Valley Boulevard. I've spent most of my career working in San Diego in the pharmaceutical industry, but I've also lived in Canada and the UK, lived and worked in Canada and the UK as well. My focus in the pharmaceutical industry was on project management and executive leadership. So basically, I've spent a lot of years getting stuff done and working to FDA standards, which are relatively strict, and there's a long arc of getting a drug through the market. So most of my career has been spent communicating across multiple functional areas and being responsible for people and the resources to get things done. I've developed and managed hundreds of budgets, many of them in the tens of millions of dollars. In the past, as far as the community goes, I'm a member of the Sereno Valley Town Council, and I think overall I would bring a balanced viewpoint to the committee on growth, industry, infrastructure. I've certainly witnessed a lot of changes in the last 25 years living in the area, and as we know, change is a universal constant, so it's going to continue to happen. But I think that I bring a viewpoint that also has respect for the needs and perspective of residents here as well. So in a nutshell, too, I'm able to serve for the required period, and that's about it. I'm not normally known for brevity, but I'll probably just leave it there.
Thanks, Sean. Bo Gibbons?
Just got to unmute myself. Hi, I'm Bo Gibbons. I am a resident of Mira Mesa for the last 10 years. Been in San Diego for 20 years, moved out from New York. For my 20 years out here in San Diego, I've worked as a commercial real estate broker, primarily working in the central San Diego market with office, industrial, and retail businesses, landlords, sales and leasing. I have quite a lot of business and clients that I work with in the Miramar submarket. Our office is located right over in Scripps Ranch. So I live here, I work here. I have 2 teenage kids that have gone through elementary and middle school and 1 through high school here in Mira Mesa. So I'm interested in being a part of this planning group as both a resident and a business advocate.
Thank you, Bo. Tommy Huck?
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's very nice to see everyone. I'm Tommy Howe, and I've had a number of neighbors reach out to me about stepping up for one of the available seats with the Mira Mesa Planning Group. Many of you know me. I ran for office twice for the San Diego City Council District 6 seat. Like Bo, I've been in San Diego for the last 20 years, and I've made Mira Mesa my home for the last 10 years. I currently am a homeowner over at Mesa Village. I used to live in the Mariposa townhouses located behind the 7-Eleven over at Camino Ruiz and Gold Coast Drive. A lot of you know me through my advocacy and my concerns about Gold Coast Drive that really drove in many ways my campaign for San Diego City Council in 2018 and again in 2022. And I realize that we're in a place right now where we're on the cusp of that road finally being rebuilt. We have a great deal of infrastructure issues that need to be addressed in Mira Mesa. I talked about this at length during the course of my campaign, but I certainly want to see the city get to a place where we're getting a real look and a real consideration when it comes to the infrastructure restoration, the need to get these broken roads rebuilt in Mira Mesa. Filling potholes is a literal Band-Aid. We need to get these roads rebuilt. And I'll also say that, we had a square peg in a round hole as far as this new community plan update. The city was streamlining this towards us 3 years ago. They never really gave us a none of the above option. There was some outreach, but it seemed to be performative. And it seemed as though the city over the course of 2 mayoral administrations really had an idea as to where it wanted to get to with Mira Mesa. And clearly they've got it. And we need good advocates standing for our community and making the community a priority as far as Mira Mesa is concerned. And certainly we need to have those voices represented on this planning group. But I think we do already, but I'd be happy to add my voice to that. I would also say that in addition to the needs of our neighborhood being paramount, I want to see real quality planning. A lot of time when you see a lot of these build housing now, build as much as you can, there's no interest in maximum affordability. There's no interest in getting the needed infrastructure around it, schools, parks, and the road improvements. And we need transit. We need real transit here. We hear transit being discussed all the time in the city, and yet we never see any plans for the Purple Line really coming up this way, any extension of the Blue Line, a really effective bus service. So we have needs here in the community, and the city needs to hear it. And in an era where community groups have really had the city's really turned the volume down on them. We need to be as loud as we can, and we need to be advocates for our community. And I offer that leadership and that support to this organization. I hope to get your support next month, and you're welcome to reach out to me. I'll drop my website in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommy. And then Ramon Berry. And I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing anybody's name, so I apologize.
That's fine. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Ray Birai. I want to thank the committee for considering me as a new possible member. As a long-term homeowner in the community and a native San Diegan, I feel it's really important to be aware and contribute to the development and the prosperity of the community that you live in. With that, I'd like to share a little bit of my qualifications to serve on this committee. I'm a public health official currently with the CDC. A former elective official serving on both a board of education and a board of finance for over 6 years, helping to guide important decisions in healthy community development. I'm also currently serving as the Vice President of Political Affairs for San Diego's Progressive Democratic Club. I've been fortunate to serve, if I'm fortunate to serve on this committee, I will be focused on improving our evaluation and determinations on the benefit and the potential detrimental effects that current and future development has or will have in our community. This includes areas of impacts on our natural environment, our quality of living of residents, our commuter impact, social effects, and the infrastructure capacity within our borders and our neighboring communities. I consider this position an important part of public health because community development affects both social, economic, political, and personal lives of everyone in our community. But the ones that are most negatively affected are our members in the community that have the least resources to maintain quality of living factors such as housing, transportation, and economic opportunity. In my role, I will use the lens of equity to benefit the people of this community and in making smarter decisions in the development of our community. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Ray. Nicholas Bockler. And I don't know if I said your last name right, so.
No, it's all right. So yeah, hey everybody, my name is Nick Beckler. I have lived in Mira Mesa since 2018. I live here with my wife and 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And also since then, I also pulled in my mom and brother both live in Mira Mesa now as well. For my career, I'm an associate professor at UC San Diego in the mechanical and aerospace engineering department. And so a lot of what we do in practice as faculty is essentially like running a small business focused on research. And so I have a fair bit of probably close to a decade now of experience managing reasonable sized projects. I am currently leading a $6 million research grant from the Department of Defense. And in addition to that, I've been trying to be active in the community since we've been here. One issue that I'm particularly passionate about is pedestrian accessibility and safety. And so as part of that, I was able to convince the traffic division to get 2 pedestrian lead intervals installed at Schilling and Adderman across Mira Mesa Boulevard. Albeit this was quite an effort. Essentially, somebody had to die before we could, they would actually take the recommendations. So, this is something that I would be particularly interested in contributing towards improving. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Nick. And then, not that you need an introduction, but Chris Kate.
Everybody, I was trying to get in front of my camera in time to be in front of you guys in camera, but it's good to see everybody. And you all pretty much know me. I've served on the city council for the past 8 years, won the seat twice. And more than anything else, I'm just trying to figure out how to be involved. And raising a young family here in Mira Mesa. I got 3 kids and I love this community and just trying to figure out a way to continue to serve. I can guarantee you I will not be running for any other office other than this for the foreseeable future, at least 20 years until my kids are grown. But more than I just want to figure out a way to continue to serve and be a part of this great community. So I think y'all know me pretty well. Some of you may agree with things I've done in the past. Some of you may have not, but no matter the point, I love this community. I look forward to figuring out how to stay involved and engaged and support this great community. And this is the way I felt I can do it at this time. So that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chris. So now I was going to, Jeff, did you have anything you want to add before I move to our existing members?
Just I'm really happy to see some new enthusiastic people. I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but we have 6 open 4-year seats and 1 open 2-year seat. We have 6 new candidates and 1 candidate who is just starting his 2nd term. And then there are 3 people who have reached their 8-year limit who said they'd be interested if there's a space available. At the moment, there is not. The new people automatically take priority over people who've reached their term limit. So something may happen between now and next month that'll change that. But at this point, all of the new people are exactly the right number to fill the new and returning people are just the right number to fill the available seats. One of those is for a 2-year term. If any of you would prefer a 2-year term to a 4-year term, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll just do something like whoever has the lowest number of votes will get the 2-year term. But yeah, so back to you, Tiffany.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to have the existing members. Do you want me to have them still?
If they want to introduce themselves, yes.
Okay, so from the list, I'll just go Joe. Are we going to have Joe do that? Joe? Sorry,
Okay,
there's
what do
a
you want
lot.
me to do?
Yep.
Do an introduction, Joe. Tell us about yourself.
I've been living in Mira Mesa for 48 years. I've been involved in 43 years fighting for our community. The 2 things I don't like about Mira Mesa are the fairy shrimp and what are those trees? Eucalyptus trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Craig Jackson.
Okay, I've served for the last 8 years, of course. My background is initially as a professor of biological chemistry at Washington University in St. Louis. I then, for 50 years, I spent a decade with the American Red Cross Blood Services during the AIDS epidemic. I moved to San Diego about 30 years ago to head a small company and did so until it was sold, and they had their own choice of person to lead that company. I currently serve on a couple of Sharp Memorial Hospital advisory councils, a patient and family advisory council, and the quality and patient safety councils as an outside observer of healthcare at Sharp Memorial Hospital, having been there more times than I would care to admit. And then I have served on this committee, as already mentioned. I'm happy to serve again, but I believe very strongly that if there is a single position that needs to be filled by a termed out individual, Jeff Stevens should fill that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Ralph?
Hi, thank you, Tiffany. Yes, I feel like Craig does as well. And I put my name on the list because I wanted to make sure that our community had enough representatives, because I think this is I've been a resident in the Mira Mesa community planning area for 27 years. And I initially joined the community planning group 10 years ago to make sure that the neighborhood of Sereno Valley had a voice. And since then, we've had a voice, and I think the community planning group has been better for it. And I'm termed out. So if I feel the same way as Craig does, if there's an opening, let's have Jeff be in. But I'd be happy to serve if needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Did John join us? That was John here.
I didn't see him now.
I didn't see him. Well, Jeff, since you've been mentioned a couple times, did you have anything you'd like to add?
I I'm very termed out. I've actually reached my 12-year limit. I think the limits would also keep me from being chair again. So I really appreciate the support, but I don't think I can continue until I've been off for the required amount of time. But I'll continue to participate, and we'll help the new chief as needed.
Question, am I up for reelection?
No, you're not, Dorothy.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I think that was everybody. Do we want to have Keith, Julia, and Marvin say anything at this point, as they're representing more of the property owner and the
Yes.
business?
Yes,
Okay. Let's see if Keith is Keith
so Keith's traveling.
not here. Yep. So Julia.
Hi, my name is Julia, and I've been on this board for about 10 years. I've been living in Sorrento Valley area of the Mira Mesa community for over 20 years, and I care deeply about this community, and I would like to continue working on helping the community move forward and making sure that the city is held responsible for their promises of constructing more, providing more transit, and not just building without ability of people to get to those homes or from them or to the our huge job center here. I think the infrastructure needs to be constantly updated. Our roads are in terrible condition, so hopefully I can help push the city into allocating more funds to that. I think providing safe ways for bicyclists to get from place to place is also very important. And as we continue watching the new community plan being built, it will be very important for us to make sure that there are safe ways for people to get from place to place, not just in our cars, but on the bicycles and using the public transport, and that public transport is available. And then I would like to also take this opportunity to also thank Jeff Stevens for such an incredible leadership. I think you've done an incredible job leading us through this community plan update, and thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Julia. Marvin?
Well, I think Jeff should be running for president. I mean, this is really kind of a minor step for him. Chris Tate's here, so we can do that. Anyways, I've been here longer than there's been dirt in Mira Mesa, but that's fine. I would like to step down and give somebody else a great opportunity to be able to do what they want to do. So if you need me, I'm here, but I'm not going anyplace. Joe and I will probably be in the old folks' home, but that's fine. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Marvin. And I think we do, people can still send in their applications as long as they've attended this meeting and a previous meeting within the last 12 meetings. If there are additional, and then also please make sure everybody, if you can please provide your information for eligibility for voting prior to our meeting in March. And I think that's all I have for the election committee report, Jeff, unless I missed anything.
Thank you, Tiffany. A couple other things. So today's actually the last day to qualify as a candidate to be on the ballot. You have to have attended 2 meetings, which can include this one. So if there's anyone else who wants to be a candidate, be sure to give Tiffany your name tonight. Otherwise, the list we have is the final list.
Hey, Jeff, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
None of the candidates, did I hear them say they were renters? Or is that going to violate city policy?
Not yet. The city is going to require some changes to the bylaws in the near future. We'll find out what they are soon. Is anyone on here a renter? That's a good question, actually. Anyone on the planning group or who is going to be? Okay. We have had runners on from time to time. I think, anyway. For the business and property owner positions, Julia for the business and Marv for the property owner. There are no other candidates there at this time, so they will be elected provided they get 2/3 of the vote. That's the other requirement for a candidate to continue. So we'll need to get 2/3 of the votes cast at the next meeting, but if they do, then they will continue on in those positions.
Yeah, Jeff, there has been a change. I am a business owner, but I'm no longer a property owner in Mira Mesa. So
You don't own property in Mira Mesa?
no, sold them all last year at top of the market. So I'm a business owner in Mira Mesa, but not a property owner. So if that doesn't fit, that's fine too. So
Okay. Yeah, that could be an issue. All right, we may need someone else for the property owner seat then.
that's fine.
Okay. One more thing. Among the property owner, there are 3 property owner seats. 2 of those are appointed. The reason those are appointed is that we wanted to make sure that the seats were someone who had developable property, or basically not someone who's just a resident who owns a house. I mean, under the language that the city requires, that would actually be legal, but we really want the property owner seats to be more than that. So Justin Mandelbaum has had one of the appointed seats whose term is ending after 4 years, so he's not termed out yet. But he says he can't continue, but his father, David Mandelbaum, who actually started the company, is willing to continue in that seat. And so we don't fill those until the April meeting after the new board is seated. But he's a perfect person to continue in that role. Okay, I think I've covered all the issues. Are there any other questions about the election from anyone? Okay, if anyone wants to run, again, you need to get your application to Tiffany tonight. After that, there will be a spot for writing candidates on the ballot. But to qualify for a writing candidate, you have to attend 3 meetings. So don't wait until the last minute to do that. There aren't very many people who are not already either running or on the planning group who meet that requirement. Likewise, to vote in the election, you just need to have attended 1 meeting and then give your name to Tiffany. And then she'll add you to the list of what we call eligible members of the community. That doesn't expire today. If you've attended a meeting anytime and you can tell us what that meeting was, then we can add you to that list. We have actually, and you're never dropped off that list. We actually have 296 eligible members listed. Again, a lot of those go back a decade, and so some of those people, I'm sure, are probably not in the community anymore. So okay, well, we will move on. Tiffany, thank you very much for giving the report and for running the moderation of the candidates, and thank you to all the candidates who spoke. Old business. Alex, do you have anything to say tonight?
Good evening, everyone. No, I don't really have anything to say. Senior planner with the planning department. The community plan and the new zoning became effective on February 12th. So all the city materials are updated online, except for areas inside the coastal zone. That's still any new project, proposed inside the coastal zone will still be reviewed based on the old plan until a coastal commission certification, which we hope to have by end of the year.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you for getting the copies of the community plan made. We'll look forward to getting those at the next meeting.
Yeah.
As you said, you had 20, so there are 19 members, so we can give one to the library also. It'd be good for them to have it there as a reference.
Yeah, I'll just bring the box with the plans, and Jeff, if you can help with the distribution, that would be great at the next meeting.
Thank you, Alex. There actually is no new business. Nobody with a project has asked to be on the agenda tonight, but they'll make up for that in the next couple of months, I'm sure. So we'll go on to our elected officials reports. Start with Kathleen Dang, who's here for Sarah Jacobs. By the way, Sarah Jacobs actually made a request to come tonight, but then she had to cancel at the last minute. So go ahead, Kathleen.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, we're so sorry about that. The DC San Diego schedule can be really hectic and change at the last minute. So she really wanted to come join in on the Zoom, but hopefully now that meetings are in person, we can try and squeeze her in next time she is back in town in San Diego. So I'm Kathleen Dang. I'm a community representative for Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. We now represent California's 51st congressional district with the 118th Congress, and also with the redistricting. The new district now includes all the way from Scripps Ranch to Sereno Valley. So we have all of Mira Mesa, Kearney Mesa, all the way down to Mission Valley, and then as far east as Lemon Grove. So if you need to figure out exactly where you or your friends or family with their new congressional district, since there is quite a bit of change between our district, Congressman Peters's district, and Congresswoman Vargas's district, you can always contact our office directly to figure out exactly where the congressional districts are. We are asking all of our new constituents to let us know their priorities for the 118th Congress. So there is a survey on our website. I'll have my contact information in the chat, and I'll send an email to Jeff as well to distribute. Next, our new office is located in Kearney Mesa. We're still moving in, so we will be taking virtual appointments and phone calls. So you can always call me directly or send me an email. As soon as we are open for business for walk-ins, I'll let you all know. And then our office is available to help you with any federal agency issues. So tax season is here. So we know that the IRS has been very delayed through the pandemic. They're hoping to catch up. So if you know someone who needs help with the IRS, with the VA, with the US Postal Service, Social Security, all those federal agencies, please contact us, and our team of caseworkers can help people directly. So yeah, just wanted to introduce myself. Born and raised here in San Diego. My siblings are raising all their kids in Mira Mesa and Scripps Ranch. So I look forward to seeing you all. And in the event I can't make it, I'll always send a report before the meeting. Thanks again, and I'll send my contact information. You can reach out anytime.
Thank you very much. I don't see Mark Schaefer here. Is there anyone here for Brian Jones, State Senate?
Hey, Jeff. Yeah. I have a quick question. I was waiting for the other representative. I have a question about the health department, and I don't know whether that's a city thing or a state thing. And what I'm referring to is years ago, it was against the law unless you had a service dog. Dogs were not allowed in grocery stores where food was sold. And I've noticed that more and more people are bringing their dogs into the grocery stores. And I was just wondering whether that law has changed, or people just violating it at will because they think they're entitled. So if anybody has any information on that, I appreciate it.
If anyone of our elected representatives knows where that law is, I don't, please say. We do actually have a representative here for Tony Atkins. Even though she's no longer our state senator, she appreciates all the votes that we cast for her. So Samantha.
Hello, my name is Samantha Brown. I'm a district representative for Senator Tony Atkins. I just wanted to come tonight to represent her. And like you said, she's no longer the state senator, but we do have that little overlap between us and the 40th district for California. So if you have any questions, concerns, we are still available to serve the Mira Mesa community in our office. And I will be available going forward.
Do you happen to know the answer to Joe's question? Who is responsible for whether or not dogs can go into the grocery store?
I do not, but I can look into it.
Thank you. Is Mickey Holmes here for Chris Ward? Or anyone else for Chris? Okay. Becca Smith for Tara Lawson Reamer. All right. Dustin for Kent Lee.
Hey, thank you, Jeff, and it was so nice to work and know you these past couple of months. Hey, so I'm Dustin from Councilmember Lee's office. As Jeff mentioned, Sheldon Zeman will be coming back to be the community representative for Mira Mesa. I'm sure many of you are familiar with him when he was with Councilmember Cate's office. I'll still be around in District 6. I'll be taking more of a district-wide role, so you're still always welcome to reach out to me, and I'll be focusing on the other neighborhoods in the district. Some quick updates on my end, and I can't speak on behalf of the mayor's office, Michaela, our counterpart, but I can just say some city things that might help out. But the mayor and Councilmember Kent Lee was at an infrastructure press conference this morning. I highly recommend watching it. It gives a great current state of infrastructure affairs in the city, and also for the rest of the year and the years to come. I think the biggest immediate takeaway is that while the backlog of potholes has been really picked up, there's the mayor and the new COO has designated dozens and dozens of additional crews who are working 7 days a week to fill the backlog. We do expect more to come. If you noticed the rain today and the upcoming weekend, I think they're almost caught up with the last storm, which was a record amount of rain. But this weekend, if you've seen in the news, is expecting another record amount of rain. So we just encourage, us as a community to keep reporting potholes, take photos, get the report number, and if you'd like any specific pothole, maybe you commute on it each day, maybe it's right in front of your house. If you have the number, just forward it to our office, and we have a system with the mayor's office where we can try and depending on how it looks, prioritize that. So definitely email us the report numbers. Wanted to, Jeff, you mentioned it, but we're also aware of the lawsuit that is going on with the Mira Mesa Community Plan, and just while we can't comment on current pending litigation, just acknowledging the challenge of meeting the climate action plan, and acknowledging that there's a multitude of challenges and a multitude of solutions, right? I think in this specific case, it was transitioning from a modal shift from private vehicles to mass transit to pedestrian friendly, bike friendly modes of transportation, and increasing transportation or increasing the number of homes where people can live near where they work. I think in this case was the issue. So we're just acknowledging that and recognizing that there are multitude of challenges and solutions as we plan to implement the community plan. Lastly, I wanted to thank you, everyone who filled out our active transportation and infrastructure committee survey, which Councilmember Kent Lee chairs. Using your input, using the input of other council members, using the input of the mayor and nonprofits and community stakeholders, Councilmember Lee has released his annual work plan for the active transportation and infrastructure committee. If you'd like to view that 2023 work plan, it is online. Just san diego.gov/council committees. There's no space between council committees, but there is a hyphen, or just Google San Diego Council Committees, and you're welcome to review that work plan. It is relatively dense, so I won't summarize it here, but maybe next month we can have Sheldon bring it along with Alex's printout of the community plan. And lastly, as we're still building out our office in person and virtually, you can now find us on most social media platforms, and we're building out a newsletter as well. So if you'd like to follow us online, definitely visit san diego.gov/cd6. And that's it for me. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you, Dustin. Any questions for Dustin tonight? Thanks to Ramon and Ralph, who both put in a link to the rules on animals inside food facilities. Joe, you can click on one of those links in the chat and hopefully that will answer the question. Okay, so Michaela couldn't be here, but she did send in a fairly detailed report. I think I'll go ahead and read it. It's largely a progress report. It says on potholes, since the heavy rains of January and early February, our transportation crews have filled approximately 17,000 potholes. Even with all that work, our pothole backlog reached as high as 2,200. We reduced that backlog to about 300 last week, but because San Diegans are doing exactly what we asked of them, submit reports on Get It Done, we are now back up to 550 with this week's storms. We expect that to grow. We're continuing to deploy extra workers on pothole duty, 30 teams on weekdays, 11 on Saturdays, and 7 on Sundays. Second is road repair. By the end of fiscal year, we are on pace to repair more than 260 miles of streets across the city. This includes 63 miles of overlay, which is where we grind down old pavement and lay down new pavement. In all, there are more than 200 street segments planned for overlay, ranging from less than 1/10 of a mile to about 2.5 miles. This includes Camino Ruiz and Mira Mesa from Reagan Road to Mira Mesa Boulevard and Roselle Street in Sorrento Valley. In addition, we have plans to complete 200 miles of slurry seal, which is more of a kind of maintenance that extends the life of our streets during this fiscal year. In the street preservation ordinance, the amended street preservation ordinance will require utilities and city contractors to quickly repair and better restore the streets that they trench and dig up. In 2024, with these updates in place, we anticipate our street preservation ordinance will alone be responsible for 25 miles of repaired roadway. Then there's street condition assessment. The overall condition index that identifies the quality of our roads has not been updated since 2015. We've secured a contractor that will begin collecting fresh data on all 2,800 miles of city streets beginning March 1st and complete their work sometime this fall. I know we could all make suggestions to him. The overall condition index for streets can be found at streets.sandiego.gov. And street lights, right now our backlog of non-functioning street lights is 5,900 and growing. We have reached an agreement with our city employee labor unions on a 1-year plan to use private electricians to help reduce our streetlight repair backlog. We are anticipating that this will result in roughly 800 additional streetlights being repaired over 1 year. While this does not address the entirety of the backlog, we are continuing to look at ways to combat the backlog, given the limited number of city electricians. And then finally, sidewalks. By this summer, we'll begin repairs on an estimated 175,000 square feet of sidewalk in 1,450 locations in communities across the city. That's Michaela's report for the mayor's office. Are there any other elected officials that I missed or their reps? Are there any announcements tonight?
I have an announcement. The Taste of Mira Mesa is on April 15th at the Vault, which is a place where they store very valuable old cars. And I still don't understand why they let community members go in there and walk around all those beautiful cars. But it's one of the great things that benefit our community schools. And it's cheap entertainment with tons of food to eat. So if you've never gone to the Taste of Mira Mesa, get involved in your community and support this. It's great for our kids. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. I agree. It's a nice event, so recommend everyone go. Any other announcements? All right, reports, Community Planners Committee. So I think, Craig, you attended the last one, right? Do you have anything to report?
There's nothing that is new. The principal discussion focused on the difficulties of the community planners group or community planners committee being able to meet virtually, and some attempts to have part of it in person such that a few individuals might be able to participate remotely. This is a challenge and was one of the reasons that the letter I penned and wrote was sent. It's a long travel. It's at night, and some of us don't drive at night very far anymore. And thus, I think that it's important to try to convince the state government that Zoom meetings have many benefits, and the Brown Act, which is at least invoked to be the problem of having remote meetings, needs to be amended.
Thank you, Craig.
That was the essence of much discussion.
Okay, Pam, Penasquitos Canyon. Unmute.
Yeah, if I went to the last meeting.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
Oh.
unmute myself and say. It's Craig.
Craig, you have a
go for
report.
Yes, well, it was in January, of course, so a lot of discussion about the rains we had in early January and the damage that was done. Apparently the water level is normally about 3 feet. In those storms, the water level got up to 10 feet, and it went the entire width of the canyon bottom, damaged all the crossings. I know some of the crossings are fixed now. They also discussed a bicentennial event that was February 11th, so missed that. And then the county presented some plans about an outdoor class area that they're going to build near the animal pens by the ranch house. It's expected to hold about 50 people and some terrace seating with some cloth shade sails and until the trees around it get taller. But it's supposed to be an area for people to do different events during the day in kind of a little arena area. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Craig. When's your next meeting, Pam?
The next meeting would be the third Thursday in March. So I don't know. I was going to jump in and add that when Jeff and I went hiking just before this latest rain, the west end of the canyon, it looked like the bridge at Wagon Wheel Crossing, maybe it had some fresh work done to repair it after the January storm, because it was nice, so you could walk across it. But the trails are all closed now. Ranger Gina Washington said with the additional storm this weekend, don't try to go hiking in the canyon now.
All right. Is there any other business tonight? I've reached the end of the agenda.
I have one more announcement for
ahead.
everyone to know about. In March, Mira Mesa High School Performing Arts Department is presenting their first full stage musical since before the pandemic. And this one is really geared to family audiences, but should be fun for all ages. It is SpongeBob the Musical. And if you don't know the music of SpongeBob, it's not just for little kids. It's a fun, catchy tunes music. I don't have the exact dates, but it's on for 2 weekends in March, and definitely worth taking a look at. Tickets are now available online. You can look up Mira Mesa High School Theater and order your tickets there. So should be a great entertainment for all ages.
All right. Anything else?
Jeff and Pam, when are you going to do your slideshow of that wonderful trip?
I've got one of them in the background behind me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got lots of good stuff. Here we go. Let's see. There we go.
What is that big pile of
People
dung
there
there in
just
front?
not worried about anything, and so okay. Anything else tonight? All right, we'll see you next month.
See you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.